friends, welcome back to Rehab Homestead. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. I am getting started on building the fireplace mantle and surround, and I cannot believe we are to this point in the project. I am a little bit nervous. I will just admit that to you guys. This is something that I've never done before. And looking at photos, I kind of felt like, okay, you know what? It's really like 3 boxes and some trim. But when it came time down to really thinking through the measurements of everything and really wanting everything to look aesthetically correct and not like, you know, my measurements maybe could have been a little bit different. I really just took my time in the planning process of this project. So I feel like I've come up with a pretty good design, and I'm excited to share that with you guys. I'll put a little picture here on the screen of our inspiration and really what we're trying to achieve here. So it's taking a photo, trying to make it, the measurements, you know, match up with the space and look correct and aesthetically pleasing, and just kind of making it from scratch. So, so I'm really excited to tackle this project because this is something that it's just a little bit out of my comfort zone, but that's how you learn and that is how you grow. And so I'm going to push myself on this one. I've been pushing myself on this project a lot actually, and I feel like it's coming along nicely. So we're just gonna fingers crossed that I can do this. And you know what? If I mess up, there's more wood at the store. As my mom would say, there's more at the store. So let's get this project going. I will share my plans with you guys and everything that I kind of end up with. You know, I don't want to say I'm building this on the fly, but you know, because I have really figured out all my measurements. But as far as putting it together, it's just going to be kind of figuring out as I go. One thing that I did want to share with you guys, if you're trying to tackle this project, is that there is pretty much no wrong way to do it. That is what I learned in all of my research. There are so many different designs. There's also a million different materials that you can use. A lot of people do all MDF. A lot of people do a combination of MDF and pine, combination of MDF and select pine, combination of plywood and MDF, all plywood, like you name it. There are so many different ways to do this. I designed this in a way that I wanted to do as few cuts down the table saw as I had to. So I really designed this in a way that it's, you know, your typical 1x4s, 1x3s, you name it. What can I just go to the store and buy and get started right away? That was kind of my thought process here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, really quick, here's some of my materials. I really do have a little bit of everything. I've got some 1x6s, 1x5s, 1x8s, some 1x2s, 1x3s, like 1x4s. I mean, you name it, I've got a lot going on here. I am pretty much using select pine for the majority of this project. There's very few that I used common pine, but for the most part, I'm using select. First thing I'm doing is cutting down and securing some 2x3s to the wall. These will act as supports to mount the mantle securely to the wall. Next, I'm building the framework of the mantle. I'm making 2 hollow boxes for the sides that will sit over the 2x3s. I'm using 1x4s and 1x6s and cutting them down to size. I'm using wood glue and brad nails to secure everything together. Here I'm using some 3-inch nails to make sure my 2x3s are nice and snug to the wall since I could only find 1 stud. Some people might call this overkill. I just call it project insurance. Okay, so for the very top portion of the mantle, I wanted the very top board of the mantle to be a little bit thicker, as thick as like a 1x2. So I'm going to glue 2 pieces. This is a 1x8. I'm gonna glue 2 of them together, and then I'm gonna cover them with a 1x2 flipped on its side. So that way it'll give the mantle like a little bit of a chunkier look at the top. And then it's not gonna be a 1x8, I'm gonna cut this down as well, so I'll have to do a rip cut on it. But I'm gonna go ahead and glue these and clamp them tonight so that way it dries, and then I will rip them down tomorrow. Next up, I'm building another hollow box that will support the very top board of the mantle and will also give the crown molding and some trim work something to nail to. I'm going to do the same method here as I did on the sides to secure this box to the wall. I'm marking where it will sit on the wall and then marking where I need to mount my support board to. I'm using a 2x2 here instead since this box is a little bit more narrow on the inside. I like to use nails as my second pair of hands. You'll see here I nail this board to the wall just to get it on the wall and then use 3-inch screws to actually secure it to the wall so it's more stable. Okay, so I wanted to take a quick minute and just talk you guys through how some of this is being built and coming together and my thoughts on everything and how I have all this planned, because I think when you look at this stuff, it's like, sneaky, you know? To see how some of it's really put together and kind of my thoughts behind it. So what I have done, and I think I got footage of this for you guys, but these are basically like a hollow box. This one and this one and that one, it's like a hollow box. And then behind it, I mounted the 2x4s, right? I'm sorry, I used 2x3s behind it, secured that to the wall and what studs I could find and just got that really super secure. Placed the hollow box over it and then I can nail down both sides here and secure that to the wall. I did the same thing with this up here, and then up here, I brad nailed into that. So my next plan is the very top board is gonna sit on here, and then I'm gonna have crown that comes from here up to that and meets that, except I'm gonna leave this board exposed and I'm just gonna cover this little gap here. That is going to build out like a mantle. So if you wanted to just make a mantle, this is the only part that you would really have to do. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to make mantles, but this is a pretty popular style, I think. And then for this area down here, I have another kind of hollow box that I'm planning to just leave that completely flat and bare. I'm calling it like a skirting, if you will, and it's just to cover this section of the fireplace. And in our original, you know, inspiration picture, that's how they had it, and I really just loved how clean and simple that was. Here, this is an overhang of a 1/2 inch. Over here, it's the same overhang of a 1/2 inch. And then for the very top piece, I probably will do either a 1/2 inch or a 1 inch overhang. I'm gonna play with that and see what I like best. It's looking so good. I don't think I really showed it up to this point, but here's where we're at. We're making a lot of progress. Hey friends, it's the next day. I am out here getting ready to cut down the top board of the mantle. I'm gonna be adding a 1x2 on the front of this on its side, so that way that is hidden. And I'm gonna go ahead and rip off the back side of it, and I'm gonna take off about 3/4 inch because I'm gonna be making up that extra 3/4 inch when I put on the front trim. I've got this up on an old pocket door of ours. It's really heavy, so I am just gonna make sure that I can have some support behind me because I'm gonna cut this by myself. So I'm gonna have some support behind me, and then I've got my extra set of hands, my little roller stand up there. I think we're gonna be good. Sorry if my audio's not great. I'm on the GoPro because I am in action, okay? I tell you what. Yes, I did it. I'm like having a really proud moment because, you know, I kind of was having a little bit of a mental block over doing this because, you know, it's a long rip cut. This is an important piece of the fireplace. So I am so excited that it worked and that everything was good. I did put, just so you guys know, I did put like an extra fine blade on my table saw so that way this cut would just be really smooth, and it worked. Good job, little table saw, good job. so I wanted to talk to you guys about this next piece here because like I was explaining earlier, I have kind of this little skirt that's gonna go here. It's gonna be even with this front trim, so I had to get this trim installed first. And in order to attach this, there's a couple different ways I could do it. I could do it with my Craig jig and do some pocket holes and attach this front board to the trim, but I didn't really want to do that. So instead I just glued and nailed on some little end support pieces here. And I'm going to slide that up in there, bring it out with the trim, and use my nail gun behind there through these to secure them to the side panels there. So I'm gonna work on that now. I'm super excited about this piece. I really think it's gonna start looking like it's all coming together. Here I'm working on cutting the crown molding. Crown is super confusing to cut. As they say, you have to cut it backwards and upside down, but once you get it figured out, it's pretty easy and well worth the time and effort. Yes. Oh my gosh. Here is where we are at. I am ready to get all my holes filled and everything caulked, but I wanted to show you guys the detail of this up close here. So with this top shelf, I know I've been explaining it to you guys, but you can see here I've got the two 1x8s stacked on its side, ripped down to the measurement I wanted, and then I've got a 1x2 on its side, mitered at a 45 there. This is crown molding, and then this is just an extra piece of trim. And we also did a piece of trim on the inside here, just so that way the gap between the mantle and the tile would be totally seamless. You could also just fill that with grout if you wanted, or caulk, or whatever you wanted to do, but my mom loves any sort of trim, so we just did an extra little piece of trim there. I've got 1x6 on the bottom. Just worked out super good. I'm gonna fill all my holes, I'm gonna caulk everything, I'm gonna prime this, and then we're gonna get to painting. Can't wait. Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys what I'm doing for the board and batten. So I don't actually know if I've even mentioned that we're doing board and batten above the fireplace, but we are. And I'm doing it in a little different way, but how I'm doing it is I'm actually using this. This is like a Craftsman trim that you would typically put at the top of your door trim, but I'm using it for the very top board of the board and batten, right at the ceiling, so that way it kind of secretly looks like it's crown, but it's actually not. And this is the profile, and I did get it in the PVC. So I wanted to mention to you guys, I also got the boards themselves in PVC because the way that these met up together was really, really good. So regular, like, you know, we'll just say 1x3 would be too thick against this piece. And that was true if it was in not PVC, if it was in just the regular, you know, pine trim as well, it was going to be, you know, not the right profile. I saw, I'm sure it's just because I live in Arizona and it's 5,000 degrees, but my saw, it's like no time to waste when you cut this stuff because it is like burning the plastic. So I'll show you guys really quick here what I'm doing, but I've got a little sanding block, and right after I cut it, I just take my little sanding block and you know, sand off all the little edges really quick, because as soon as they dry back down, it's super hard. And also, like, if you're gonna cut the PVC, cut it really fast. Like, don't take your time cutting it, just cut it and then get your sanding block and clean the edges up. I'm working on priming the fireplace, and I just wanted to take a minute and show you guys how cool this trim detail looks once it's painted. So here I've got a trim piece here. This is the crown, and this is you know, the box that's behind all of this to secure everything together. But as I'm getting this painted, it is just the coolest thing, and I just wanted to take a minute to show you guys how it goes from looking like two pieces into one piece. I mean, seriously, how cool is that? This is the kind of stuff I get excited about. Oh my gosh, the fireplace is completely done, and I cannot believe it. It is a major check. Oh, this room feels so much different now. I feel like this just really even brightened the whole space when you walk in. So I cannot believe the way that it looked before to the way that it looks now. Talk about a major transformation, and really just like a cosmetic upgrade. You know, we were still able to keep some of the brick here and just, you know, do new tile and a new surround, and voila. Just voila. As Jared would say, it's voila.
So I always said voila, and that's what I taught her growing up is voila. Jared says it's voila, and I have looked it up. He is correct.
He is correct.
Voila.
We fact checked him, but anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so glad that this all came together. You know, it was a lot of planning, a lot of thought that went into this, but this is such a special space now, and I just couldn't be happier. So I think if I had to pick my favorite thing about it, it was definitely finding this trim detail here.
Yes.
This really just elevated it.
We found it in a whole other spot of the store.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even by. So to
It was
find
in the
this
shower area.
and it matched this perfectly, we were like, yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
we put
yes.
these two together, and like you literally
Yeah.
cannot see the seam. Like, you have to be up close to it, you know?
Yeah.
So it looks like one solid piece. And so I just think that's, just those little touches really make such a big difference.
But this is my favorite.
That's your
part.
favorite
Yeah,
part?
because we can put all of our stuff
I
out
know,
there.
yes!
We are getting ready to do fall decor, and I just cannot wait to do this. I know, I'm really excited. I cannot wait to do this.
If you guys caught the beginning of my last video, I did like, you know, tease to start decorating this, and we did try. And I mean, it was like,
We did.
no.
We tried to decorate at the beginning, and
Yeah,
then we were like, you know what?
No.
Let's rip it all
Let's
apart.
just do it now.
You're so talented.
Oh, thank
I
you.
love
Mom.
it. So thank you.
Thank you for all your
again.
support. Oh my
Love
gosh.
it.
Another project done, one for the books. So hope you guys enjoyed seeing how all of this came together. Always have more in store, so stay tuned, stick around, and I'll catch you really soon. Bye.